But before we can get to the type of ideology that genocide sort of refers to or is buttressed on, we need to have an understanding of just ideologies in general. Okay, so we have that understanding of ideology. Alright, so far we have an individual idea, right, or the creation of an individual idea, and that's called ideation. We have the ideology, and we recognize that that's sort of a system, right? And this is the way I've worded it. There are other definitions, but I think this is, you know, a little bit more precise to our purposes here. An ideology is a regulatory system of ideas used to assess, right, human conduct. This is good, this is bad, this is permissible, this is not, and so on. What we want to do is we want to look at the form of ideology that pertains specifically to, not exclusively, but uniquely, not even uniquely, sort of seminally to genocide studies, right? And this is what's known as an exclusionary ideology. An exclusionary ideology. Obviously, the word exclude means to not incorporate, right? It means to sort of shun or to purge or to differentiate in class, like A and B or something, right? To exclude. So ideologies that exclude is a way of thinking of exclusionary ideology. So what I've written for exclusionary ideology, an ideology specifically designed to select and justify the extermination of targeted group members. So I'll write that down. So an exclusionary ideology is an ideology specifically designed, and that's the important point, specifically designed to select and justify the extermination of targeted group members. Alright, so an exclusionary ideology, I took up a lot of space with that. An exclusionary ideology is an ideology specifically designed to select and justify the extermination of targeted group members, right? So first of all, we have to see that exclusionary ideologies don't just appear at random. It's not as simple as X and Y, right? Exclusionary ideologies aren't ideologies that, especially efficient exclusionary ideologies, aren't ideologies that you can sort of cook up, that you can create. It's not an ideation that you can create just at random, right? It requires phenomenal orchestration. It requires phenomenal levels of systematization, right? It requires phenomenal levels of planning and organization. An exclusionary ideology is an extremely complex set of, in some instances, ideologies. So maybe even not just one ideology, you could even say exclusionary ideologies, a system of complicated ideologies or ideology, right? This system is designed to target, right? The system, the whole point of an exclusionary ideology, and we'll just abbreviate it EI, right? Exclusionary ideology, is to say, for example, the following. Imagine that we have a population, and I can't really draw that well, but imagine that we have a population. And we have a population of, and this is a very gross example. No, actually, yeah, this is what I'll do. Imagine that we have a population, and we have a population of people with small noses, right? And we have a population of people with large noses, right? So you have a population of people with small noses, you have a population of people with large noses. Later in the discussion, I'll tie this into even more sort of technical terms, because there's technical things behind this, but just for general discussion now, imagine that we have a population of people with smaller noses and a population of people with larger noses. The exclusionary ideology is designed, right, to select people with larger noses and target these people with larger noses. So the ideology might say that people with larger noses are dangerous dangerous, and dangerous people should be, I don't know, let's just say, let's go for it all, right? Dangerous people should be killed. This is pretty rough, right? Even this isn't, I mean, it's sound, it makes sense, but it can be better, but this is YouTube. So, an exclusionary ideology. Alright, so I have a population of people with smaller noses, a population of people with larger noses. I create the exclusionary ideology to select people with larger noses. Based on my selection then, I want to target these people, right? Target these people for extermination. I want to kill these people. So I create the argument that people with larger noses are dangerous, and dangerous people should be killed. What I've done here is known as I'm attributing value to some fact of the matter. The fact is that there are people who have smaller noses, there are people that have larger noses. Insofar as the biological fact, it's neither here nor there. It's just that your nose is smaller than mine, my nose is larger than yours, whatever it might be. But we attribute value to that, right? We create the system of valuation wherein the population values those who have smaller noses. In America, contemporary America, we, as a society, well, African American culture is a little bit different from sort of, I guess, white American culture, but as a society, I would say that we look at types of bodies, right? We look at a body type that is very fit, and we value that more than a body type that's not as fit. And I don't mean as far as health-wise, right? We value eye color, we value hair color, we value lip thickness, we value all types of things, right? None of these things in and of themselves have really any significance, right? Maybe on a very rudimentary, primordial, sort of reproductive level, but obviously these are matters of taste, right? These are aesthetic matters. What we do is we attribute a value of being good to a smaller nose and bad to a larger nose, and then we apply a sense of fear or danger, right? A threat to those people that we have selected, right? Those people are bad. Those people are dangerous. Those people can kill us. Those people we need to be fearful of. And insofar as we've created this atmosphere, this general, we being the orchestrators, right, in the background, we're not, and I don't want to jump the gun yet, but the people in the background creating the ideology, sort of pumping this myth into the population very, very subtly. The population, then, it's hard to erase the way that you see the world after an idea sort of infects your brain. That's the genius of the movie, right? What ends up happening is now I see a person, I'm Joe Smith, walking down the block, I see a guy with a big nose, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that guy with the big nose, he's dangerous, right? That guy with the big nose might try and harm me. And I'm fearful of this person. And what do? Well, I make sure that I defend myself against this person, and if you're good enough at creating exclusionary ideologies, you can actually incentivize the population to kill these people, right? This happens all the time, unfortunately. So an exclusionary ideology is very, very complex. We designed the ideology to select people, and what I haven't done yet is talk about the justification, which I will in a second, and justify their extermination. The question is, do I talk about this later? No. The question, yeah, maybe a little bit, I'll talk about it. But the question is, to whom are we making this justification, right? Well, obviously we're attempting to justify these people extermination to the people that we have selected for, right? We've selected against these people, we've selected for these people, and these people are collectively known as moderates, right? These people are collectively known as moderates.